So guys, Adam here as per usual. Thanks for checking out the videos. Appreciate your support as always. Today we're going to be answering the question, what sounds better for reamping? Actual amps, reamping with actual amps, or reamping with software or digital emulation stuff? Let's find out. There's two distinct approaches when it comes to reamping guitars in the studio nowadays. You have option A, which is to send the signal back out of the computer into a kind of real amp and mic that up and back in, so re-record that performance. Or option B, we can apply a load of kind of amp sims and VST effects and things to that track and do it all kind of in the box and in the digital domain. So which sounds better? Let's find out. So we're going to take just a quick look here at one of the riffs from one of the tracks on the upcoming SkyPainter record. So what I'll do, I'll put a still image on the screen and I'll put whether it's amp simulation or whether it's the actual kind of amp. The amp that I've used for the reamping is the Hughes & Kettner Trilogy. See what you think, see how these compare. Let me know as well which you prefer based on kind of a blind test as well. So there you have it. All of the examples sound good. Subtle differences between them, but all of the examples sound good. All the different VSTs sound good, and the Hughes & Kettner Trilogy sounds great as well. What I prefer is very tricky because I like each one of those different things for different applications. And for that riff kind of there, I'm preferring the Hughes & Kettner Trilogy. It's also quite hard to tell the difference sometimes. I've tried to dial some of the amp simulators in to sound a bit like the Trilogy. As far as I'm aware, there's no actual amp simulation out there that actually simulates this specific amp, the Hughes & Kettner Trilogy, or any of the H&K stuff, I think. So I've used one of the amp simulators to try and get a bit of that sound. Yeah, now obviously when I'm listening back, because I've used the Trilogy, that's been my main amp for probably 9 years now. 8-9 years now, that's been my main amp. I can hear the really subtle differences. I can kind of know, if I'm listening in a blind test, I can normally hear that's the Trilogy for this reason. Maybe can't tell the difference between the other two amp sims or other amps or whatever, but normally I can sort of, in a blind test with myself, I can normally pick out which one's the Trilogy with some reasonable degree of accuracy. So let me know which ones you prefer. Very simple test. Do this yourself as well at home when reamping. Don't just assume my amp is going to sound better. Don't, you know, you've got a Mesa Boogie Dual Rec. Don't think Dual Rec's going to sound better. 5150 is going to sound better. It's not necessarily going to sound better dependent on your application and what you want your guitar tone to be as well. So keep the questions coming, guys. Thanks for checking out the vids. Thank you for your continued support as always. And please do comment below. Let me know which of these examples you thought sounded best. Truth be told, I'm using kind of a mix of all these kind of tones on the album. Various amp simulators and various tones from the Hughes & Kettner Trilogy. Various pedals, etc. all getting used on the SkyPainter album, which will go more into detail at a later date. Keep in touch, guys. Thanks for checking it out.